Good morning, good evening. This is Light Up with Shwa that you're watching or listening. I have a very special guest today, and this topic I haven't really covered much, but I am going to be maybe asking Sadia again and again to come and educate us on this topic and this area of our life that we should all be aware of. So before you go into that and listen and watch this amazing woman on the other side, not on the other side of the world actually. I am in East Coast and you are in Florida, right?
Correct.
So I hope you have subscribed to my channel. If you haven't, please do so. Light Up with Shwa. It's a podcast. It's a weekly podcast on conscious living and parenting. So what Sadia is going to tell us is part of our, we should be aware and we should be conscious of this. So you can find my channel on YouTube, Facebook, TuneIn, iTunes, and all the usual platforms. It's on Instagram as well. But do visit my website, lightupwithshwa.com. So here we go. Sadia, please introduce us with your full name and what do you do?
Hello, Shua. Thank you so much for having me. So I'm Sadia Sindhu. I'm with Lakeview Capital Partners. I'm a wealth advisor. And that pretty much means that I work with individuals, families, and business owners on any particular long-term, short-term goals and anything that kind of touches their financial life. I know that kind of means that could be very broad, but I help individuals to how to basically plan and how to better themselves when it comes to their finances. It could be for their retirement. It could be a young family who's looking to purchase a home, families planning to do some college funding for their kids. Usually, typically speaking, when you work with a wealth advisor, you usually give them a lump sum of money and they charge you an annual fee to manage their money.
Okay.
I particularly take a much more holistic approach, touching some of the areas I just mentioned, which could be retirement planning, estate planning, college funding. And I kind of say I'm sort of like it's like sort of like when you go see a doctor, and you have to go through a bunch of questionnaires to kind of let the doctor know where you are
Right.
currently in your physical health.
Yeah.
With me, it's more like where you are in your financial health.
Excellent. So we have a finance doctor here. Yeah, I would love that. That's a good way. I'll title that. I'll title my show with that. So yes,
you.
please. Thank you. So this is what you can do. What I was, so many questions were coming while you were saying. I wanted to. It's kind of a humorous thing, but I wanted to say Sadia is not here to give you wealth. She's wealth. You need to give it to her so she can teach you how to manage it, basically, right? And it's more
Well,
into depth, I guess.
right. It's more into looking at, where you are. So everybody is at a different stage in their lives.
Yeah.
Someone who's in their 30s, possibly about to, getting married, their needs are different than someone who is, in their 50s, maybe having children now transitioning out of the house. And then some folks that are in their 60s that are very, about to approach retirement. So everyone has different needs at different stages of their lives.
Right.
So we try to fit what works best for you and your family.
So you have to work with an individual, get their, it's going to be unique with them, what type, what age, and their stage, and everything, right? So that's like you really have to study them, then come up with the plan.
Correct.
Right? Yeah. Okay.
Really to look at where they are in that stage of their lives.
Okay.
And what their needs are, what
Okay.
their goals are, whether it could be short term and long term, and then kind of work with that plan.
Okay.
So, life happens and things happen, but as long as there is a plan, you can come back to.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So my goal is to work with individuals to make sure that they have a financial plan. They
Okay.
have what we say, all of their ducks in a row,
Mm-hmm.
to complete whatever end goal that they're looking to do.
So those who don't have or don't want to have, what would you say to them?
I think it's never too late,
Okay.
because I do have individuals sometimes who say, you know what, I'm in my 50s, I never saved for retirement. I just started putting money into my 401k. I need help. So great. Now we kind of work with where they are.
Okay.
And like I said, at that point, depending on whether they're single or they're married or they have children, it's very specific to what their needs are.
So can you, before I go into other questions, I want you to say, or if you can, any example that is your best example that you had to work with, and the most difficult or challenging case, the two extremes, that if you can share anything regarding that came across you and you had to manage them. Like, did you have any challenging cases or people?
Sure. I mean, I think that, everybody is unique. And so, I mean, I've had a case where I had an individual that had, some problems with spending. And, she had multiple credit cards. And so, I went through, so part of it is helping them budget. I mean, she had a very strong income, but when it came to actual management, that's where she, needed help. So the first thing I did was put together all of the credit cards she had, looking at the interest rates that she was paying on them, because she just didn't know when to say no to herself, and didn't have any limitations on her spending habits. And so I tried helping with that. And you can guess one of the first steps was that I sat down and we cut up, some of the cards that had
So
highest interest rates.
do you think that you become like a doctor of finance in addition to the doctor of psychology, also like the psychology of spending and financing and managing? Like, you must be able to kind of gauge something, right? With the
Absolutely. Sometimes I feel that I'm a therapist,
yeah.
because, I'll tell you, finances is so personal. I've had a husband and wife in where the wife starts to cry because they feel like they're not living the lifestyle that they should be living, depending on their profession. So I think that, finances really affects us, whether it's in a marriage, the way we are raised, even what we teach our children how to deal with money.
Yeah.
So a lot of times in my initial meetings, what I call fit meeting, is to really understand what their emotional relationship is with money.
Okay.
To really understand, where they are. As you know, or you may know, that one of the top reasons of divorce in the United States is due to finances.
Okay.
So many times, a husband and wife are both not on the same page when it comes to their finances.
Okay. All right. So before we delve into more serious discussion, I would want, what made you interested in this field?
So I started my career working for Thomson Reuters when they were Thomson Financial.
Okay.
And they provided real-time market data to stockbrokers. And I think, I started there right out of college. So, and I majored in economics. So,
So you were in that trajectory. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So you
Correct.
were okay with the numbers, and, you wanted to know everybody's finances, how they're doing. Okay.
Right. I mean, I started on the technology side.
Okay.
And then about a few years ago, I got into the actual planning world.
Oh, okay. So what's so you liked the planning world better than technology? So what is technology in this?
So Thomson provided real-time market data. So we worked
Oh, okay,
more on
okay.
training individuals on how to use the platform.
Okay, okay.
That particular time, I think that, I was young and I was traveling all over the country, and
Hmm.
that was fun to do.
Hmm.
Um, and then now it's a whole different dynamics.
Okay.
Now I'm actually one-on-one with individuals and their
Okay.
families,
Hmm.
and I really enjoy it. I think
That's
that
the experience of dealing and connecting with people, right? Yeah, that's nice. Okay. Um, so what is so I wanted to know, so you started this career in your career during this all, I don't know how many years, if that's okay to ask. Is that okay? So
sure.
yeah, sure.
I've started. You mean like in the financial planning? So
No, yeah,
Wall Street,
financial planning. In
over
total, you
20
have been
years,
20, okay, over 20 years.
over
Okay.
20 years of
Okay.
experience.
Wow, that's a lot. So you
But
must
I've
be
done financial
100.
planning. I'm
How old?
sorry.
You look so young. So when did you start? And when did you? But anyways, we don't have to ask your age. But 20 years of total being in this field, this area.
Right. So I
Okay.
started financial planning about 5 years ago.
Okay. And before that, you were in technical.
I was in technology, and then I
Technology.
took some break.
Okay.
I got married, I
Oh,
had
okay.
kids.
Okay. Okay.
I worked in another company that provided similar software, but it was a lot smaller,
Okay.
where it was more for individuals that, wanted to day trade.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay. Well.
and then, took other jobs where while I was raising my kids, where I would go,
Hmm.
I would drop them off to school and go to work and come back, and they wouldn't even know that mommy went to work.
Oh, nice. Good mommy, huh? Well, not
So,
everybody would agree with that, but yeah, I agree with that, that it's good that you were there for your children. Okay, good. So what's the statistics of women being in this field, this area, in your experience so far?
yeah, I think that's a great question. I mean, this is a very male-dominated industry.
Okay, okay.
I would say for every 10 advisors in the room, you might find one, maybe two in the room.
Hmm.
So it's still work in
One
progress.
or two, just for the audience who are listening and watching, one or two women, this is the ratio she's talking about, I guess, right? Yeah, okay,
Right.
okay.
So it's, I think that more and more women are entering the industry, but there's still a huge gap.
Mm.
I think that women generally relate better, and what's happening is recently statistics show that when a spouse passes away, and, if a husband passes away, one of the first things the wife will do is she will fire the financial advisor because he never took time to build a relationship with the wife. So he mostly worked with the husband.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
and I think one of the things I do like to focus in my practice is to get women more and more involved. You
Okay.
know, I mean, we are, Sheila, we are involved when it comes to buying the groceries,
Yes.
deciding what everybody eats in the household,
Right. Yes.
the brands we choose. So why are we not really partaking in the actual budgeting and the financing of the house?
Okay. Yeah. So why do you think that's the reason? Like, why don't women go into this area, this field?
I think there's a lot of, you know, it's I don't think it has anything to do with race, religion, educational background, because
Mm-hmm.
I've seen women pretty much um, from all walks of life,
Mm-hmm.
and then I think especially in our culture, it's the norm because
Mm-hmm.
our moms were in that similar role,
So now
and
you're
then
talking which
their
culture?
mom,
Your parents' culture, or
yes.
you were born and brought up in the United States?
I was born in Pakistan, but I came here at a very young age.
Okay, very young.
And
Okay.
actually, yes, and I've actually never been back. So I came here at a very young age. I started elementary school here,
Mm-hmm.
and it just so happened that I just never went back.
Oh, okay. So you haven't visited Pakistan yet?
No, not what like a 6 or 7 year old child would remember.
Okay. So I guess we need to take you for a visit.
Right.
Yeah.
So I feel that in my general experience, I think my first point would be that um, it's very common all across the board.
Mm-hmm.
It's regardless of your background, regardless of your educational level. Many women do this. They tend to basically just give that task to their spouse. So the spouse is handling the finances. And this is in many cases where the woman might be the primary breadwinner in the household. But even then, they're allowing their spouse to take care of all the finances. I had one person tell me recently, she said, well, you know what, Sadia, it's one less thing I have to do.
Okay.
And it's true, but there's consequences that can come with that.
Yes.
And the consequences could be, statistics show that women will live longer than their spouses.
Mm-hmm.
And so if something happens to your spouse, you will be now responsible of your finances.
Exactly.
And the other situation could be if God forbid there's a divorce.
Right, right.
So that's why it's very important, I think, for women to get involved and get involved from the beginning.
Mm-hmm. So that's very important point you mentioned, that when you are dealing with your clients and people, and especially women, you do try to encourage them to understand their finances. But do you think, depending on the cultures, if let's say a man comes to you and he's taking care of the finances, and he has a wife, and do you ask like, okay, where's your wife? Or like, how do you handle that? Or do you encourage him to bring her or have her part of as part of the understanding of his or her finances?
Absolutely. Okay. It's usually set as an expectation from the beginning.
Okay.
That in the initial fit meeting, that I would like the wife to be in the meeting.
Oh, okay. So what do you have any stories about that they will say, well, she doesn't need to come, or if you're comfortable sharing?
Yeah, I mean, yes, there's been cases where you might be in the initial meeting, and then after that she might not be available for the next 2 to 3 meetings because of some commitment with one of the children, so she's absent. But what I try to do is make sure that I only schedule it when they are available together. Not to say that there are times, but my goal from the beginning is to have those clients where the woman is also equally partaking. That's the ideal client for me, is where the woman is equally partaking in the finances and is aware
of it. So let's say you even, let's say if she wasn't there in that meeting, you can ensure by making her husband or her spouse know that she better read it, or she should sign it, or there are multiple ways to ensure that she can be involved in it. So yeah, I think it's the value that we give to this area, because we usually say, well, he's doing it. And generally in our culture especially, even they are owners of lands and all that, and their husbands are managing and they take care of it. So anyways, okay. Anything else you want to?
Yeah, and I'll add to that. I think that one of the things that happens that I've seen is, where there's a divorce, and then the wife doesn't know that he has land back home. And then the land back home is obviously in his name and not under her name. Or when if the spouse passes away and she doesn't know some of the properties that he has. So that's why it's so important to not only go through the full financial plan that I help my clients walk through, but at the same time also talk about the estate planning side, that, you have everything, you guys, if something happens to one spouse, then the other one is taken care of, and is aware of all of the assets.
So in that also you find the statistics to be low, that women are less involved, even if, in your office when they come. Is that more in Asian cultures, or, I mean, I'm sure you deal with all kinds of people. So what is the statistics here with the, in the West, in America, non-Asian or other ethnicities?
So I find the example I just talked about more common, in the Asian community, because you do have the possibility of having assets outside of the US.
Okay.
So that's what I've seen very common, is that, people that came, South Indians that came to this country as adults, and now they're going through the full process with me. And because I understand the culture, I will ask them, what other assets do you have, right? To do a full net worth, we have to understand, what are all the assets that you own? And they might mention, well, I have a house in Gujarat, or I have a house in Pakistan, in this town. Okay, great. Well, do you have anything in writing? And most of the times they don't. It's something that they've just discussed, they just had a conversation with their parents, or actually there's been no conversation. I take that back. It's just an understanding.
Oh, okay.
So that's where I think that and if those assets are worth a lot and they're if something that you're relying on, then you are going to come into, there could be a lot of consequences if you don't have the formal conversation.
More assumptions, more misunderstanding.
Correct.
Like, I thought, this was all mine. and then things go, yeah. Okay, so that's good. So you have this knowledge of, you are more knowledgeable with the, I guess, cases in subcontinent India, Pakistan. I'm sure you have that, and in America. Interesting. So you're fine? Do you enjoy all this work? You're not stressed?
I do. I really enjoy what I do, because I really believe that I'm helping people, when it comes to people just trying to find financial freedom, financial independence. It means a lot. And it means different things for different people.
That's very nice. I bet you are a psychologist now. 100% of money, because money is a major thing. I mean, it's finances, it's your well-being. I mean, without that, you are nowhere in this world, actually. I mean, and the way we live today, in that sense. Okay, so what would you say to the young girls who are thinking of deciding this career? That's why I asked you, like, do you enjoy it and you are into it? So maybe that can inspire some more girls around the world from any background. Doesn't matter which color, which faith, which ethnicity. What would you say to them? Why should they choose this area, this field?
Yeah, I think that it's a wonderful career. I'm biased because this is what I do. But I think that if you are passionate, and you definitely you're a people person, you like sitting down with and talking to people and really understanding and getting to know them, and want to build a long-term relationship, because this is what it is. It's not
Right.
transactional. This is a long-term relationship. So if you have that in you, you have that passion. Generally speaking, I think, if you follow your passion, money will come. And I give the same advice to my kids. You've got to do what you love. And it will show up in different ways. So, and generally when people are looking for, people in this industry, they're looking for someone who's very outgoing, obviously not shy. You're in a business for yourself, to go out and meet people, tell them what you do, and then also show them how you can help them to achieve help them through this financial journey. And so, yeah, I mean, I think that if you fit that criteria, and you are a finance person, you've always thought about being in the financial industry, I think it's a wonderful career, and women are much needed in this career.
Yeah, that's what I want you to say. Like, women are needed. So even if, let's say, they are just still deciding what they want to do, and not everybody should be in a medical industry or in engineering. I mean, there are so many. I mean, in finance also, like, there are different areas. Like, you are the wealth manager doesn't mean that that's the only field well, how would you say, this is a area in which there are different I guess branches to the finance,
Sure.
management,
Right.
or accounting, and
Banking,
yes,
accounting,
yeah,
sure.
right. So it depends which area, but this whole area, because sometimes some people get turned off by, oh, it's numbers and I'm not good with numbers, and I don't think that is the case, right? No, yeah,
No.
no, okay. Because I have heard that, like, oh, finance, numbers, I'm not good at maths. Okay, so is that how much math do you use?
I mean, I do use a lot of math. I'm not gonna. I mean, there's a lot of,
And it's a good thing. It's helpful for the brain. I mean, I don't think it's anything wrong with that.
right. So, I mean, I think that sure, you do have to like finance. I mean, like I said, I majored in economics, sat through some very, you know, boring, I would say some boring economic classes, but that's what I wanted to do. And but at the same time, you should do something that interests you, right?
That's true. That's true.
So, I mean, one thing is I would say one of the best things in this industry is that you do have great work-life balance.
Okay.
Because
Automatically, or because it depends on you, right? Or is the nature of the work that way?
yes, because you are working for yourself. I mean, I work for myself. I mean, so you have to. It allows you to, leave the office and you can go. I pick up my kids, and be able to do that. It's not your typical 9 to 5 job. I guess that's what I want to say.
Okay. Okay. All right. So, how can, before I move to parenting questions, would you be able to tell us, for Muslim community, that I don't know if there is a controversy, or is that it is a clear-cut understanding of investing? How, from the Islamic point of view, is there a halal, kosher investing? Is that really what it is, or how can you say anything about that? If somebody wants to
Sure.
invest.
I mean, I think a lot of people don't know that there's options out there.
Okay.
One of the best things that we offer is we've put together a whole halal portfolio for our clients that are very particular and want to make sure that they're only investing in those halal vehicles that are Sharia compliant. And that goes with people that are concerned, with interest, with riba. And not only that, we have an in-house institutional team that works with also socially responsible. So, there's different groups, whether it's religious values, whether you have a value that you want to only invest in things that are good for the environment.
Mm.
We've been actually able to put together in-house. I worked with our institutional team to put together something that is Sharia compliant when it comes to halal investments.
Hmm.
Because I do have folks that are interested that want to, put their money in, halal vehicles.
So yeah, I was recently in a forum. Actually, they were a conference where they were talking about environmentally safe investment. Like
Right.
all the companies are environmentally the climate. I think there's a name for it, and I'll share with you later. But it's about climate and how those companies are more climate resilient and climate. They are aware of the climate and they are
Sure.
investing in that way so it doesn't uh, deteriorate or pollute our environment.
Right. And
So,
we've been kind of ahead in that sense as a firm
mm,
because we've been offering this for some time now,
okay.
um,
So
for
your
folks
company,
that have
this Lakeview,
Lakeview. Correct.
Lakeview, say the name.
Capital.
Yes, I was going to say partners. Okay, say your company's name again, please.
It's Lakeview Capital
Okay,
Partners.
all right. Thank you.